Yes, people, how we doing? Hope you're all going well. Welcome back to the channel. 12th Man is back. Make sure you do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you do want to become a member, you can hit join as well. Make sure you do me a favor as well, and following all of these guys on social. All of their content they put out is phenomenal for their clubs. Tonight, joining me is Locks. Locks, new channel going well, bruv?
Yes, mate. Yeah, I'm all good. Thank you. Hope you're doing good. And yeah, the channel's been going 4 weeks now, mate. So yeah, just trying to keep at it as much as possible.
Good stuff, man. It's all about consistency and definitely consistent. Make sure if you've not done so already, blue tinted glasses, go over there, give Locks a like and a subscribe and some support because he's putting in the work. That's for sure, man. Dave, a smiley Dave Asprey. I mean, you must be. I know you're down in Bournemouth, but you must be smiley after the weekend, bro.
Yeah, I've had worse weeks, Dan. Let's put it like that. Quite a lot of them actually over the last 30 years with Forest, but yeah, this one has been it's been really good, and we've cherished it. We cherished it for a short period of time, and then eyes turned to Brighton on Sunday. Back to business now. Back to business.
Such management talk, Dave.
That is, mate. That's like,
you know me, Sam.
Yeah, if Nuno has been interviewed, you know what I mean. So fair play, man. We're going to talk about it and break it down. Sam, how you doing, bro?
Very well, mate. Very well. Season started relatively okay, and everything's all good down here.
Good stuff, man. Good to hear. Emilio from the car, big up to you for joining. I know you've got places to be tonight, so I'm not going to keep you for long, but I appreciate you coming on, mate. How are you?
No, I'm good. Thank you. Just having a family holiday. We're in France at the moment, back home next Friday, and then heading to Nottingham to see Dave and Fulham whip Forest's asses on Saturday. Hopefully, but unlikely the way it was going. We can't whip anyone's asses at the moment. But yeah, just bad to do the show. I'll do about half an hour now. I've got to go on to Pete's show as well, and then we're going out for dinner this evening. But yeah, just my wife's in the car, so if you hear her saying "Shut up, don't talk so loudly," it's not me. It's the missus next to me. But yeah, glad to be on tonight.
Absolutely love it, man. Big up to everyone in the chat as well. Big up to Steve. Massive happy anniversary to yourself and Emma as well. Converted from Forest to Fulham. How'd you like that, Dave? What's happening there? But you know, listen.
We take different paths in life, Daniel. That's what it is, mate.
Emilio, let me start with you because I did joke around to say that Fulham are still taking penalties, and I want to ask the question tonight about this League Cup and this top half finish thing, because I've always said to this, well, people on this panel and other panels, that if I was supporting a club that I felt had no chance of a kind of top four or potentially winning a Champions League or a Premier League, I would want to go for the domestic cups. But there's a lot of people I speak to that are like, nah, I just want to finish 10th. Or I just want to come 11th. Nah, man, I would go for a trophy 100%. So I wanted to kind of discuss that as a panel tonight about what's more important, winning a trophy or finishing high as you can in the league. Because a lot of people do kind of have a bit of a debate about that, and I kind of find it bizarre. But there we go. That's that. And your thoughts on Fulham, because, you know, Reece Nelson and Emil Smith-Rowe, two of my boys doing the business for you of late. But unfortunate it wasn't to be the other night after 16-15 on penalties immediately.
ridiculous and again, that comes off the back of a disappointing last 30-second equaliser against West Ham. We dominated that game against West Ham. Should have been mature and professional enough to close that game out. Right in front of me, Traore, Harrison Reed, seasoned professionals, hold the ball in the corner flag, run the clock down, game over, 3 points. But no, trying to score a second goal, lost possession, up the other end, Danny Ings scores. I'm really pissed off about that. And to be honest with you, I'm not happy. At the end of the day, we're going to struggle with goals. I've said it before in this show. We haven't got a striker. That's a problem. We saw that against Preston on Tuesday night. Second 11 team should have been good enough to beat Preston in normal time. And the fact they got to penalties after we went behind, not good enough, really. So going at West Ham, disappointed, 2 points dropped, may become crucial at the end of the season. But your question, we want silverware. A club like Fulham wants silverware. We got to the semi-final in the Carabao Cup last season, nearly knocked Liverpool out, nearly got to the final. We only lost 3-2 in aggregate, and we get 2 good, tough matches. But
that was a fix as well. That draw, by the way.
Tell me about it. I remember none of us knew which balls went into which section. We always saw here's 4 balls in the box, pull them out, and Liverpool play Fulham. There's a surprise. But anyway, that was last season. This season, survival's name of the game. I've always said it. What do I want? A silverware or survival? Survival's number one. And if you're good enough to survive, you want to fight for a silverware. Of course you do. And I think, finishing high up the table is important. But a club like Fulham, it'd be nice to actually win some silverware, big silverware. And we came close last season. We know we can do it. But that second 11 on Tuesday night should have been good enough to beat Preston over 90 minutes. And there's still players in that team that just owning their wages and not really caring about the club. So we've already exited a few of the older players. There'll be more exits January, end of next summer. We keep rebuilding. That's all we can do. We can build for the future, but we're very short on attacking quality at the moment. Very, very short. I've been saying it for 18 months. We haven't replaced Mitrovic. If we had Paulinho, Mitrovic still in the team, we'd be a top 6, top 7 team. Without them two, we're looking a bit lightweight in midfield, albeit we're doing okay so far, but up front, we're toothless. We've got nothing there at the moment. That's my worry. There's still a loan signing that we can go out and get. There are a few strikers with better credentials than the ones we've got at the moment. Can maybe get them on loan for 6 months till January to give us more firepower. But that's my worry. We won't concede many goals, but we're not going to score many goals either. But yeah, so disappointed to get knocked out against Preston. It was an opportunity because who knows? Knockout competition, anything can happen. You get a good home tie. We're good enough to beat good top 6 teams at home. We've proven that the last season or so. So to get knocked out, disappointing. So yeah, as they say, focus on the Premier League and focus on survival now for the rest of the season.
Yeah, listen, I've got to agree with what you're saying about firepower up top, but Fulham are definitely scoring. I don't know what's worse, however, at the weekend, allowing West Ham to score or allowing Danny Ings to score. I mean, that was incredible. When I saw he scored the goal, I thought Danny Ings had retired. I mean, honestly, crazy when I saw what had happened at the end. I did see it, and I mean, Lawless was obviously very happy, but I must say, about that, it was pretty. Not sure it was deserved, if I'm honest, but it is what it is. But I wanted to ask you, Emilio, there's a lot of gooners that watch this channel, you know that. How Reece Nelson and Emil Smith Rowe are doing, mate? How are they getting on?
Smith Rowe, good so far. He's getting more. He's playing more game time. Man United's first game he played 60 minutes in a much more reserved, sort of holding midfield type of role. In the last 2 or 3 games, he's been pushing more on the left, and in that link-up play with Robinson, with Iwobi, it's starting to we're starting to see his credentials there. Good assist last week against West Ham. I don't think it was his best game. I think he had a better game against Leicester City last month, where he scored the goal. But he was involved. He looked lively at times. His passing was very good. You can see his precision, his quality, his touch on the ball is there to be seen. He's still probably about 75%, 80% match fit. So give him another 6 games, he'll probably start to peak, and then we'll probably see the best out of him. But yeah, so far so good. I like what I'm seeing. He's getting himself in the box. He's obviously scored a goal, got an assist, and looking dangerous. But he can only play 65, 70 minutes. He's not played more than that in 4 games in the league so far. And Reece Nelson came on as a sub against West Ham. First touch was very special, a very beautiful touch with his ball, with his foot. And he's looking dangerous. He's looking like a few careless free kicks he gave away, but that's maybe the excitement got the better of him. But overall, I like what I see. For 30 minutes on Saturday, he made a difference on that left, looking lively, like to take plays on, like the way Marco Silva likes to play. He likes to play with a high press, offensive threat, and he'll suit. I can see why they've gone in for him. And then he scored on a good goal on Tuesday night. So he won't start on Saturday, but he's going to be knocking on that door quite soon. He'll be on the bench. He'll come and be a bit like an impact sub maybe the next couple of league games. Newcastle at home Saturday is tough. We're going to need his qualities there. But overall, I like what I'm seeing from both players. I know there's no option to buy Nelson at the end of the season, but who knows? If he can make his mark at Fulham and Arsenal are willing to sell him at a sensible price, then who knows? He could be a Fulham player for the next few years. But yeah, both making a good impact at the club. And that's what I mean. In the summer, we've made some strong signings, some good players. We've added some depth, quality, and where it counts. But up front, we still haven't invested. We've let Jay Stansfield go to Birmingham City for a record sum for a 3rd-tier team, and we haven't got adequate backup. I just don't get it, to be honest with you. So they've trusted in Muniz to be the answer to all our problems scoring goals. I've said it. He had a purple patch last season. He's looked dreadful in pre-season. Awful in this season. He got dropped last week for Jimenez, and Jimenez is more lethal and more clinical in that area. We've got better touch, more awareness, but those two are not going to score the goals that are going to sort of push Fulham up the table. So we're relying on Smith Rowe, Iwobi, Pereira, all these players to start chipping in with goals. If those goals dry up, we may have a bit of a problem, right? That's my concern. But overall, to your question, both players making a positive impact to the club.
Good. No, I'm glad they are. They're great lads, and I want them both to do well. I wouldn't mind keeping hold of Smith Rowe, to be fair, seeing as Erdegaard's now out forever. But there we go. He's now injured, and we've got no cover. We've got young Ethan, who's 17 years old, who's going to have to come in and do the business now, and who looks a baller, by the way. But,
he does. He does.
I would have kept hold of Smith Rowe, definitely. Selling Vieira was fine for me, but Smith Rowe, I did like Smith Rowe, but I hope he does well. Obviously, at Fulham as well. You also got Newcastle at the weekend, Emilio. That's is it at St James's Park?
No, it's at Craven Cottage, so I won't be there. But I was saying to Pete, it's probably not a bad thing. I'm not there every time I've seen them play in the last season. We keep losing against them, so it's time we 3 times they lost them last year, home and away. We didn't deserve to lose the home game at the end of the season. They got a late winner to win 1-0, and then we lost in the cup as well. That's when we were playing in the semi-finals in the Carabao Cup. Just got knocked out by Liverpool over 2, and then 3 days later we had Newcastle home in the cup. Again, what was more important, survival of the FA Cup? So we gave up. Newcastle did the business last season, scored three clean sheets against us. We've got to change that record. We're better than that. Newcastle are dominating Fulham over the last few seasons, so hopefully we'll change. Me not being there might be a positive. So fingers crossed. But that's going to be a tough game, very tough game.
Yeah, it will be a tough game. Newcastle, I fancy them this season, and a lot of people laughed at me. I remember getting absolutely rinsed on Race for Europe by everyone by predicting they'll get into the Champions League, and at the moment, it's looking all right for them. I can't lie; it's looking pretty good for them. So we'll see what happens. One game a week, Newcastle. Big up, Emilio. Listen, Sam, I've got to come to you next, mate, with the question that is: do you want silverware, or do you want to be as close as you can to the European places? I think it's a question that I thought was quite easy to answer, but I'm interested to get your thoughts on this one, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you're a man who loves your trophies, mate. You've even got the Charity Shield mounted on the wall behind you by the looks of it, buddy.
Absolutely,
what is that? I love it. But ultimately, though, for Bournemouth fans, it's absolutely wanted, but it's not of the most crucial importance. So, but I think now that we sort of developed as a Premier League club, I think the money that we're spending warrants something. What that something is, I don't know. Well, last season it was a record points total, which looks good on paper. We finished 12th. No one remembers that. Well, we finished 11th before. No one remembers our highest place finish is 9th in the Premier League. So what? I think I can understand why some teams don't take the cup seriously because they want to protect themselves in the league, want to keep players okay. But the one season we effectively sacked off the FA Cup, which was the 2019-20 season, we were poor against Arsenal. I think we lost 2-1 at our place. You know, like Arsenal were superb, but then we played Burton Albion in the Carabao Cup and were just absolutely awful. We got relegated that season anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I think cup wins can actually bring momentum in the league. Really, if you're under equipped as a squad, maybe there's an argument for resting players, and as a result, you may sort of, like lose games. For us, we're out of the only cup competition that we've been in so far, Carabao Cup, and that was some like dodgy handball from Jared Bowen, where had it been for VAR, it would have been absolutely like chalked off. But for me,
that was embarrassing. That was. I remember watching that. That was absolutely embarrassing. Like Lawless was even like, "Yeah, can't defend that one." Like.
And this came after a weekend where we had a perfectly legitimate goal against Newcastle in the last minute, which would have won the game. And then but it's fine because Howard Webb's come out and apologised, so everything's right. Okay, thanks for that. I really appreciate that. The PGMOL said it. Every media pundit in the land, Alan Shearer, who bleeds black and white, was like, "That should have been a goal." It is frustrating, but it was
horrendous.
But
then what was also horrendous was Joe Linton decided to take your goalkeeper's head off at the same time.
Yeah, absolute joke. But weirdly, I could accept the one against West Ham more because it was an individual just making the error. It's just you sort of one referee. That's fine. I can almost forgive it when you've got 3 or 4 people looking at a TV screen time and time again, slowing it down and still getting it wrong. That's when there's a problem. But anyway, that's beside the point. I would absolutely love a cup run. I really would. I think we've got the squad to maybe give it a stab this season. Quarterfinals, maybe semi-final. Just a Wembley appearance would would absolutely do me. And because I don't think we're a side that's threatened by relegation, then why not? Like, those are the kind of memories that fans will remember. So for me, it's a really important thing we go for one.
No, listen, big up, man. I wanted to quickly ask you, Sam, as well. Evan Nilsson's come in, Dom Solanke's gone out, 65 million, which I think is incredible amount of money, by the way. Look, I like Dominic Solanke. I don't think he's worth that much, if I'm honest with you, after having one season at Bournemouth where he played well. He didn't do so well at Chelsea and Liverpool, and at the moment he's struggling at Spurs. Evan Nilsson, however, did miss the penalty, but I don't know, there's something about him that I like. He looks a handful, if I'm honest with you. What did you make of him so far?
Yeah, he's got the profile of a really good player that can replace Dom Solanke pretty well. He's got, many of the same attributes, but yeah, it's just unfortunate with that penalty. I think the way he telegraphed the run, you could almost tell that he was going to go that way. He stood like perpendicular behind the ball. He sort of Johnny Wilkinsoned it, like stuck to the side, curved his run. When you're doing that, there's no way you're coming back onto your left side again. He was always going to go, across the ball, so the keeper would just dive to the left. Unfortunate, but from what I've seen from him so far, he works really hard. Thankfully, we're not in a position where we sort of rely on him scoring goals. For instance, the Everton mad sort of 10 minutes we took him off about 10 minutes before, so we didn't have a replacement striker and we won the game. We scored 3 goals without a striker on the pitch, so the reliance on him is not as much, which is kind of good. It takes the pressure off him. He's got his own pressure, of course, with that hefty price tag. But Dom Solanke had the same as well for us at the time, 20 million. And I think Bournemouth fans, as a result, have learned to maybe be a little bit more patient because of the sort of muscle memory of realising, hang on a sec, let's just give Dom a bit of time here. But the difference between Dom and Evan Nilsson now and then is that Dom was never the main man. He had Callum Wilson to dislodge Josh King. Evan Nilsson's the man. He's got to really hit the ground running. Some good performances so far. I'm just willing for him to score, just to get that monkey off his back a little bit. But from what I've seen, he really fits the side well. Hard worker, and he does all the same things that Dom does. And you're right, by the looks of it at the moment, we've had Spurs' pants down a little bit, but I'm sure it'll come good for Spurs. Maybe.
I hope not. Hopefully he flops. That's what I hope. I mean, what's happening at Tottenham Hotspur at the moment is beautiful to see, in my opinion. But long may it continue. Listen, I've got to say, Dave, I've kept you long enough. I was at the weekend eating pizza with my niece and nephew, so I missed most of the 3 p.m. results. And then I went down the park and I was kicking the ball with Max, my nephew, and I was looking at the scores and I thought, oh, wow, that'll be about 4-1 Liverpool then by the end of the game, now that they've got 1-0 up. Incredible. I looked at Dawes' vlog. Absolutely superb, mate. Now, we've done something that I have never done. I have never gone to Anfield and seen my club win. Now, we have won there, obviously, many times. We always get absolutely spanked. Now, I went to Anfield when we were absolutely terrible and losing by 4s and 5s. And fortunately, we haven't done that for a while. But it's incredible. It's so hard to win there. One of the hardest grounds to go to and get 3 points.
Yeah.
When you do, mate, you've got to cherish it, my bro. So now it's just about enjoying that for as long as you can, Dave.
Yeah, I'm 60, mate. It's 55 years. I was 5 at the time. The last time Forest won at Anfield, Barry Lyons scored twice in a 2-0 win against, the tail, Shanks' team. So I'm going to cherish it for the rest of my days, mate. Whatever happens to us for the rest of the season, that day will live on. It's an immortal day now. A bit like Wembley was a couple of years ago. I mean, Wembley was incredible as an occasion, but it was a terrible football match. But it got us to the Premier League. This was a hell of an achievement. It's the best result we've had since we've come up. And it was done with such discipline, with such humility, with such teamwork, with such spirit, with strength. They were absolutely wonderful. The further away I get from it, the more it glows in my mind and the more I clasp it to my chest as a precious thing. But basically, the game was won by the team that didn't feel entitled against the team that looked and gave off all the body symptoms of entitlement. It was just, for 15 minutes, you could see They knocked it about and all this kind of stuff. And there was a quiet hubbub in the ground. And then after about 15, 20 minutes, they started to get a little bit sort of juvenile, really. Why aren't we winning this? This should be a routine home win. Why is it not happening? This is not fair. And they were like spoilt children, really. Luis Diaz hit the post, and I think they all then assumed, the floodgates will open soon, and this lot, who are so inferior to us, will not trouble us anymore. And the longer it went, the more my lot looked at each other, and they thought, this lot don't like this. And Forest just quietly became more tight-knit, more confident, and tactically, it's the best performance by a Nottingham Forest manager from a tactics point of view, probably since the days of Cloughy. Because Nuno, his idea was to stay in the game for an hour. So you go in at half-time 0-0, you kind of think there's a reset coming, Liverpool will come out all guns blazing. But this isn't the Klopp era, this is the Slot era. Slot is still trying to connect with the crowd and use the crowd and orchestrate the crowd like Klopp did, and he can't do it. And Forest came out second half, and when Nuno sort of switched his plan and he put Anthony Elanga on and Callum Hudson-Odoi, the warnings started coming. So Chris Wood had a golden chance to put us in front. Anthony Elanga shot over the bar from a lovely move where we broke quickly, and Liverpool just kept assuming with utter complacency that Forest would just fall away and go away, like that's what lower half of the Premier League sides do, and Forest didn't do that. And you could see the confidence, you could see our lads looking at each other, thinking, "We're in here, we've got a chance." And then we score the goal, and it's the most predictable thing on earth. Had Liverpool not done their homework on what Callum Hudson-Odoi does, he does it every time. He did it to Sam at the Vitality earlier in the year. He did it at Sheffield United last year. He does it everywhere he goes. He gets the ball out on the left, he cuts inside on his right, and he looks to whip it in the far post. And one of our great clubs, one of our great teams, either ignored it or were too dumb to do anything about it. I mean, Conor Bradley gave him all the time in the world to come inside. And then what I found really, really strange was the Liverpool supporters who, for me, didn't support their team at all. I mean, they sing "You'll Never Walk Alone" at the start of the game, and it's hairs on the back of your neck stuff. And then from then on, it was quiet in this room that I'm sitting in now, and I'm on my own, right? and I thought, so we scored. There's 18 minutes to go of normal time, plus 5 added on. It's only 1-0. Liverpool at Anfield have a history and a tradition, a heritage of rescuing things from a dodgy situation. But no, they were all filing out the ground, and I thought to myself, walk out when you're 1-0 down, and you'll never come back. You never come back. Their fans were dreadful, and they were all walking out. And 20 odd minutes left, and Forest managed the game beautifully from then on. And it's almost like Forest just wrapped cling film round them and then put them on exhibit, as if to say, right, here's Liverpool. Does this make us 4 goals better than Manchester United? Does this make Nottingham Forest superior to AC Milan? Because that's what I'm seeing from the games that have taken place, right? And then to me, the pièce de résistance came at the end afterwards when Nuno was interviewed. And rather than giving it the elation and the euphoria and the hysteria, which, to be fair, our lads did in the dressing room, because they reckon that like the noise in the Forest dressing room at Anfield was sort of cacophonous, really. Nuno just stood there in front of the Match of Day guy and he went, "Oh, it was pretty good. Quite happy with it, but we had to concentrate on Brighton now." And he just completely put it in its place. As far as I'm concerned, it's the most perfect day as a Nottingham Forest supporter since we were promoted. And the thing is, it sets a bar now. Nuno has an expectation. He can say to them when we go to the Amex, and then at home to Fulham the following week, and then at Stamford Bridge after that, "You did that at Anfield. I have a right to expect you to do that now wherever we go in this league. You have set a standard. Don't fall off that standard." So in some ways, the Forest lads have put more pressure on them. But it's been really nice to see this week. The nice things to see this week are the number of converts we've won. Alan Shearer has been singing our praises to the rafters. And there are other people. Even Simon Jordan said nice things about us, which is, once I could work out what he was saying, because usually ineligible. But obviously there's been quite a lot of, it's more about, there was the typical, Liverpool didn't do this. Never mind what Forest did. It was because Liverpool didn't do this and didn't do that and whatever else. So we've been used to that,
all the time. Like the guys on here all know that.
Yeah.
The minute you win a game, it's always what the better team didn't do that was right. It's always that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, Dan. So
You know, I mean,
so
Errol's a pretty level-headed one, to be fair to him. But he was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
well, we had a
yeah.
bad. But like, I spoke to Lawrence McKenna, who was outside the Spurs ground on Sunday, and he said, "We got Nuno'd, mate." That's what he said. He said, "We got Nuno'd," and you know, it was like that's how good they were. You know, Forest actually delivered.
Do you know what, Dan? They did get Nuno. They got Wolverhampton Wanderers Nuno'd. They did not get Tottenham Hotspur Nuno'd. And I think we might be on to a Wolverhampton Wanderers Nuno, which that's a pretty handy asset. He's trimmed the squad. It's leaner. It's tighter. Milenkovic at the back looks a real player. He's helping Murillo. Our fullbacks, Moreno and Olarena, apparently went in the dressing room, took their shorts off, and Mo Salah and Luis Diaz both fell out onto the floor because they were completely outplayed. Yatesy, I think Yatesy left about 4 or 5 dead bodies on the pitch. He was public enemy number one, and it was just, it was a tremendous performance. And I just think, I still think 14th or 15th maybe. I'll take 17th, but you know what? If I keep my feet on the ground and don't get too carried away and don't come on here and make ridiculous, ludicrous statements, then maybe. Yeah, without being sentimental again, Dan, the only sadness was my dad wasn't here to see it. I'd have loved old Razzie to have seen that. He'd have loved it because he always loved, in his days when he was with Forest on the scout stuff, beating Liverpool was the sculpt that everybody at Forest wanted, because of that rivalry in the Clough days. But yeah, it was a wonderful day, and I just, whatever happens now, we can at least look back on that and think our lads were fantastic. And I mean, it's just a case now of not getting carried away. I mean, Sunday's going to be incredibly difficult for us. They're a good side, well coached, well managed, brilliantly owned. I think it could be a tremendous game. We're going in with confidence. It's 2 teams with 2 draws and 2 wins. So that'd be good. The only thing is I would not like to be the team going to Anfield this week because they might get a backlash. So I don't know who that is. Sorry, Sam. So yeah, I mean, the thing is, if Antonio Iraola watches what Forest did, then he'll see ways in which Bournemouth can have success against Liverpool because
Yusuf has come up here with it. Says, question for Sam: do you think Bournemouth will set up to park the bus at Anfield or come out and play? I mean, if you look at what Forest have done, I don't know what your thoughts are there. Quickly, Sam.
Yeah, we don't know how to park the bus, not anymore. We'll just go out and play, which may mean we'll get punished potentially. And Dave, when I saw that result, I had this weird feeling of feeling happy for you, but feeling annoyed that there's going to be a reaction. So it's kind of like having to play with 2 emotions. I'm glad they won in the week, though. They did look very good.
Yeah,
should have been.
They did, yeah.
That takes the pressure off Schlott a little bit, but just a bit frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, Sam. I mean, there was a lot of Liverpool people. I watched the Anfield Rap and a few others, and they were like low block and no ambition and just break us down. But that wasn't entirely the case. I tell you who was fantastic for us, and we may have just pulled off a little coup. James Ward-Prowse was quietly brilliant on Saturday. Absolutely superb. In fact, so good I can't remember it. What he did in the game, but I think that sort of says that he did a good job. So again, all roads lead back to Lawless, don't they, on these podcasts? So thank you very much, Lawless, for letting us have him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Emilio, I know you've got to shoot on to another channel. Thank you so much for coming on, my bro. I really appreciate it, mate.
No, thank you very much, guys. Always a pleasure. I'll see you maybe next week again. So I'm on my way back from France. So let me know the time, Dan. I'll happily join. Obviously, we'll see you next weekend, Dave, as well, up at Forest. Have a few beers there.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
All right.
Take care, Emilio.
Take care. See you soon. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Take care, Emilio. See you, mate.
Bye.
Before I come to Locks and Rich, Mum has got a very good question. When are you joining the Race for Europe show, Dave? I mean,
is that your mother again?
That is my mum.
Oh, bless it.
It's funny
bless it. Good old Donny.
You'll message me saying, when are me and Dave getting on Race Europe? Look, come on, we're 4th at the moment.
Our time, Dan, for Race for Europe was 1978, 79, 1980, mate, 1981, and a bit in the early 1990s under Frank Clark. So it would be nice, to be up with the big boys, but let's just go to Brighton and do what we need to do.
Feet on the ground, situation. 100%.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
100%. Locks, listen, man, waiting patiently. Jamie Vardy keeps doing it. I might as well bring Rich and yourself in, actually, because that was a
That's
mad
brilliant.
ending, man. That was a mad ending. I don't know what your thoughts were of that one, Locks. Obviously, Mateta penalty in the last minute, but that Jamie Vardy goal was like rolling back the years, mate. I mean, he's still doing
great
it,
player.
man. Still doing it. So, talk to me, Locks. What's your thoughts at the moment as a Leicester fan?
Yeah, man. I mean, if you told me before the season started, 2 points after 4 games, I probably would have taken it. Leicester fans were fearing the worst, I think, this year. We really thought we were going to... A lot of us, genuinely, mate, a lot of us actually thought we could give Derby points record.
Now, get that beat, mate.
Well, yeah, we could still do it, mate. Yeah, look, 2 points from 4 games. With the games that we've had, Spurs, Fulham, Villa, Palace, I think 2 points we would have taken. But I don't know, mate. It's weird. I think we're a little bit disappointed, to be honest with you, with how some of the games have gone. The Palace game, for example, we should have won it. Palace, of course, are the better team. Undoubtedly with the players they have. Their squad, I think they're the better team than Leicester. But being 2-0 up, I know we were only 2-0 up for about a minute, but being 2-0 up, a VAR decision going against us as well, which Steve Cooper's spoken on a bit today. He's not happy with that. And then for me, sorry, Dave, just to let you know, mate. Steve Cooper isn't actually being treated that well at Leicester by Leicester fans, including myself at times. There's a lot of stick that's being sent his way with how he's set up in certain games. And the Palace game, he kind of, he tried to see out that win when it was 2-1. He made some very defensive substitutions and it just invited the pressure on and we crumbled at the end with Conor Cody. And I mean, even if you did want to bring on another centre-back, Conor Cody's not played a game this season. I know he's experienced in all of this, but he's not played a game. You had, Vestergaard, for example, was available and he wasn't chosen. So, yeah, it's a bit frustrating, Dan, to be honest with you. The points where I think the games where we could have got more points from, I think Villa, although we lost and although Villa are a great team, we could have got a point from that one for sure. And then, of course, we should have had 3 from Palace. But, I'm seeing a lot of Leicester fans say it's nothing to do with the fact that Cooper was a Forest manager. And to be honest with you, mate, I believe them because from my point of view, I didn't care. I didn't care that he was Forest. I just thought that with some of the names that we were linked with, I know Graham Potter, I'm not saying he would have been the right choice, but he was one name that was linked. Carlos Corberán, they're just a bit more exciting, right? A bit more of exciting prospects than Steve Cooper. And obviously it is who we've got, it is what it is. But it does make me wonder if we had the points deduction news earlier, would we have had Steve Cooper or would we have had a different manager? Because I think we might have ended up with a different manager if the points deduction wasn't looming over us, to be honest with you, mate.
Hey, the points deduction situation was a worry, and that's the only reason I had Leicester going down straight away. Was I just thought it's going to be hard for you anyway. Points deduction is going to be a killer. That's now not happening. You've got a chance, man, just like everybody else. I mean, it's going to be difficult. I have yourself down there with Southampton. I actually had Forest in trouble, but it looks like they're putting egg on my face. It looks like they're going to be fine, and I kind of
early days, Daniel.
And I mean, Everton look atrocious, by the way. Everton,
they do.
We have them. You have them on Saturday, mate.
Well,
so.
Listen, you can give them a 2-goal lead, apparently, and you can win 3-2.
That's such a massive game, though, by the way. Like, again, some people are saying Cooper's been unfairly treated by the Leicester fans, like I just said, and maybe some of it is an agenda, who knows, but that is a big game because I'll guarantee you, mate, if we don't win against Everton on Saturday, I guarantee you that the fans will start to switch, even though we've had a decent start, even though the performances have been there. If we don't beat Everton, there will already be quite a few fans calling for his head, mate, honestly.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
no, they really will. They really will. And look, Steve Cooper, the right decision when Forest was struggling was to keep him. I always thought personally that it was good for what he'd done for the club to keep him, but maybe they've proven the right thing to do was to get Nuno in. I think you've got to give him the whole... Dan,
can I just come in and just to back up Lox's comments, which I agree with. I think it's fair to say now, much as we love Steve for what he did for us that was in that context. And if you certainly take Saturday as Exhibit A, nobody at Nottingham Forest now wants to swap Nuno out to bring Steve Cooper back in. So we've kind of evolved on from that point, you know.
Yeah. That I keep getting told this though, Dave. Every time, even when he was being announced, or just before he was announced, I kept having people in my ears saying, "Oh, Forest fans love him. They think he's a great manager." Blah, blah. But then when I actually spoke to Forest fans, they were like, "Well, they thanked him and they praised him for the championship and what he did. Up." But to me, it doesn't. I don't see him keeping us up, Dave. I think if he's in charge to the end of the season, I think we'll go down. So I think our only hope of staying up is if he did get replaced halfway through the season, and I think he will eventually.
Yeah, it is tough. I mean, the thing is, you got to give him time, but also you want to stay in the Premier League. So it's really hard, isn't it, when you're down there? What do you do? Do you go and try and, you find yourself otherwise in a lead situation where they were just like, let's get Javi Gracia in. No, let's get Allardyce in. We'll do all we can just to stay up, and they end up going down anyway. It's like, what do you do? Do you throw everything at it, or do you go think? Lastly, Locke, I wanted to ask you, because obviously we've titled this looking at trophies or staying up. As far as Leicester are concerned, when they're flirting with relegation, I guess you just want to stay up and don't care about a trophy. I know you say don't care about a trophy. You obviously care about trophies, but you do actually know what it's like to win trophies. You won FA Cups and Premier Leagues, right? So you understand that. But I guess you just want to stay up and take that 17th place. Am I wrong?
Yeah, 100%. That's what we want. I mean, we had Tranmere in the cup and we won 4-0, and Cooper played quite a strong side. We play Walsall next week. I'm sure he'll play quite a strong side for that as well. I've been told he likes the cup competitions, Dave, but it's interesting though, Dan, because I remember 3 years ago, and it's mad it was only 3 years ago, that I was speaking to Joe, just Joe Wayman, and he was saying to me, what would you take? And it was when we were fighting it was the FA Cup season when we won the FA Cup and we were fighting for the top four. And he said to me, would you rather top four or FA Cup? And I said, top four. I want Champions League over an FA Cup. And he was slating me, mate. And he was slating me. But I honestly believe if we had got top four that year, we wouldn't have been relegated, when we were, with the money that would have come in, we would have been able to spend a bit more money. And from that season, when we bottled it again for the second year in a row, where we finished fifth after being in the top four more than any other team, I think, that season, we fell apart. And the year after that, we finished eighth. It was very underwhelming. And then the year after that, we were relegated. So back then, it was all day long. I wanted top four over the trophy. And again, mate, now I want 17th over. If you said to me, relegated but a League Cup, I would say, sorry, stay up in the league or a League Cup. I'd say stay up 100% because we can't be a fan again, mate, because they're gonna punish us big time for the point. They give us probably 15 points, mate. Honestly, they're after us.
Oh, mate, I hope these point deductions stop. Or if they don't stop, I hope City and Chelsea get the same bloody punishment, because nothing's happening. I don't get what's going on there. Let me tell you that. Like, all of a sudden, it's like, boom, Everton, see you later. Forest, see you later. Leicester, see ya. And then they're like, right, City and Chelsea, take as long as you need. It's like bizarre, man. I don't get it. Anyway, listen, I'm the reason I like asking this question is because you always want, as a football club, something that you're not used to, right? So you've just said, Locks, you want the Champions League. For me, I would have taken a trophy over Champions League, because without sounding big-headed, Arsenal kind of used to being in European competition, right? So getting is nothing for me. If I could offer any of you top four, of course you're going to go, God, give it me now. I'll have it. Right. So I get it's kind of this style. I like the question because it's all different opinions of where people's clubs are at. And, like, let's, for example, take Rich. He's going to take a trophy because Crystal Palace need silverware, right? If you hope that, or God, you'll fancy getting into the, I don't know, let's say win the Carabao Cup, but come 16th or come 10th, he's going to win the Carabao Cup and come 16th, I guess, because it's a trophy, right? And 10th place isn't nothing,
Absolutely.
Is it? Well done. Go on, Rich. Absolutely. There you go. So, look, that's why I like the question, because everyone looks at things differently and they look at where their club's at. But it's a nice segue to yourself, Rich. Palace is a bit of a strange one at the moment. I can't lie, bruv. I'll speak to D, and I like to speak to you the next night, because then I can actually understand what's going on, because I can't. All I get is just ranting and raving with D, but I don't with you, Rich. So look, I've got to say, I like Glasner. I think he's a very good manager. I do appreciate that there's stuff that's gone on at Palace. However, I look at the way it ended in the window. I don't think it's that bad, bro. Like, you kept hold of the majority of your players. Yet Anderson went and Elise went. You've got some cover in for that in LaCroix and obviously Kamada. I don't know what your thoughts are on those players, but looking at the squad, I do think it's still good enough to fight for kind of, I don't know, anywhere from 9th to 12th. I don't think like Palace are like, oh my God, that's it. It's going to be relegation. Now, Lawless last night was laughing and saying that you're going to be in a relegation fight and that D's in the mud, etc., etc. But I really just don't see that, if I'm honest with you. What's going on at the moment over there, bruv?
First of all, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
My audio's been acting up lately. But, I mean, if we're in a relegation battle, don't Lawless realize he's only 2 points ahead of us. Look, it's not been the best of starts points-wise, but I'm not mad performances-wise. Minus Leicester, and I'll explain why. Brentford, we should have beat. Missed too many chances and defended poorly. West Ham should have done better with the chances we had. A draw would have been a fair result, in my personal opinion. They took their chances, we didn't. Chelsea rode our luck. Second half, we were brilliant. But Leicester, we were terrible. I'm sorry. We had 60% plus possession of the ball, but didn't do anything with it. We were very slow and almost played into Leicester's hands. And you made a very good point about big teams making excuses when it comes to little teams in a sense. Now, I'm not saying we're a big team. That's not what I'm saying here. But we were the team that was expected to beat Leicester. We didn't beat Leicester because we were bad. Granted, we played slow. We didn't beat Leicester because Leicester were brilliant. Like, I'm giving Leicester their props. Their tactical game plan was spot on up until Jordan Ayew came off. That's how ironic it is.
For coding.
Yeah.
That is up until Jordan Ayew came off. Now, you know what? It's funny you talked about the VAR decision because I was sitting obviously in the stands and I'm just like, he's offside. I didn't even celebrate. And they gave the goal. I was like, what? I mean, granted, I was happy. But I was like, how? He's ahead of play. Surely he's ahead of play. Obviously, they showed the image on like X and stuff. I'm like, but he's still ahead of play. So then I thought, did Mitchell pass the ball backwards? He didn't pass the ball backwards. I do feel for you, Lux, on that aspect.
Can I just say quickly, Rich?
Yeah, sure.
I was just going to say Steve Cooper spoke today in his press conference, and apparently they actually used the wrong frame. The Premier League have admitted it, not publicly. They haven't admitted it publicly, but apparently Leicester went with their own frame, where it was still, where Mitchell had just made contact with the ball, and he was offside, and then the frame the Premier League were using was onside. But even their frame, it was debatable because it was just nuts. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It was a mess.
I think it was last season. Like, we had a game where the lines weren't even parallel. You could see by the sort of grass lines on the pitch. And there was one going off at a slant. It's like, what on earth's going on? Well, it can get in the bin. It really can.
But look, Jamie Vardy, like even at 37, I believe he is, he's always going to be a threat, And
class player.
I think the bit that annoyed us as Palace fans is both goals we conceded were from our own mistakes, in a sense. Mateta with a really terrible pass to Wharton, so Wharton gets caught out. Gay's obviously on his heels because he's obviously thinking about the next forward phase. And Vardy does what he does best. I don't think there's any striker better in playing off a last man than Jamie Vardy.
No.
I think Henderson could have been a bit quicker off his line, but it is what it is. The goal we conceded right after half, it was just a long ball. And we've made a complete hash of it in more than one way. Mitchell ducks, Lacroix shanks it with his left foot, and it hits Klein on his chest. And we conceded a similar goal to West Ham. It was just defensively poor. And it's just how ironic, the way we actually got back into the game. Granted, Ayew coming off helped, but Glasner just went 2-6. He brought on all our attacking players. And all of a sudden, we're now playing with pace. If we'd done that from the start, I think we could have won the game quite comfortably. But we were just quick for the last 20 or so minutes. We were just quicker on the ball. Everything was with pace. It's barely Sarr came on and was a constant nuisance, and he ended up winning the penalty. So I think for us, we just got to get that balance right, get the fitness up. I wouldn't use an excuse, but I know a lot of our players went to major finals in international tournaments, but I'm sure they should be okay now. They should have had enough rest now. So hopefully we can really kick on. So I'm glad that we got a point out of Leicester when we shouldn't have, but I was disappointed that I think that's a game we should be looking to win.
No, listen, I agree with you. And I mean, I've got to say, Palace, I do think will be fine. Palace is about injuries and not getting any of those. Last season, you struggled.
Yeah.
With them, and I think that goes for every team, to be fair. But I do still think you'll be okay. Before we come to some predictions to close, team news is out for you, Gooners. Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Partey, Rice, and Havertz, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus. Arteta has gone very, very strong. Only changes, Trossard has come out, and obviously Jesus has come in. Now, I imagine it means Havertz will drop into that 10, and then Jesus will start on top. But there is rumours around that Jesus and him might do a little bit of swapsy. So I hope, personally, I'd rather see Havertz stay in that 9. But Arteta's gone strong, man, and that worries me. I'm going to be, every time Saka touches that ball, I'm going to be like, please don't get crocked, because we need everyone fit for Sunday, man. That Man City game is so important. De Bruyne got injured last night, hoping that we don't get any injuries. We've got enough. We've got like Ødegaard and Marino. We haven't even been able to play our midfield this season because we're injured yet again. So look, let's just hope we don't get any more injuries and that everyone stays fit. Let's go to some predictions. Locks, what are you saying this weekend, bruv?
Oh God! I mean, it's a must-win, obviously, but I fear a point. I think 1-1. I can't. What will it be? 5 in a row in the league for Everton if they lose. So you are talking about Leicester Everton, yeah? You're asking me.
I am indeed.
Yeah, just making sure. Yeah. So what 1-1 I predicted earlier on, mate, when I was speaking to an Everton fan. I just think that Steve Cooper's been starting 3 defensive midfielders in home games, and I don't know, man. I'm sorry, Dave, again, because I know you love the bloke, but I can't help but slag him off a little bit at the moment. So they're going to be chomping at the bit. They're going to be chomping at the bit, mate.
Just for us, please don't beat them, because then they'll probably sack him and then have the new manager bounce against us.
That's true. That's true. He probably will lose his job, won't he? If they lose.
Yeah.
So, I think they'll be chomping at the bit,
please.
mate. They'll be up for it. Of course, we'll be up for it as well. I'm not saying we won't be, but I think 1-1. If I'm honest, so that's what I'm going with.
I think you'll beat them, bro. I think you'll beat them, bro. I think they look so bad. Like against Villa, right? This was what happened. I watched it with my old man. I sat there and I went, 2-0. Right, I'm putting £10 on Villa to win. 3-2. I just knew they were doing it. It was so obvious to me. They just looked so bad. If Bournemouth can do it in the 87th minute, then trust me, Villa can do it with like half the game to go. Yeah. So I just looked at it and I just thought, wow, like imagine being an Everton fan right now. You basically have to score 3 goals a game to be guaranteed at least a point.
And you still won't get a point.
Honestly, it's a shambles, man. So I fancy you.
I hope we win. I hope so, man. I hope so.
I fancy. Is it at your place or theirs?
Yeah, it's at our place, mate. Yeah, so.
I fancy you, man. I fancy you. I do. I fancy you. I'll go 2-1 Leicester, innit? Let's see what happens. And hopefully you get 3 points. Dave, what you saying? Brighton, very tough game, man. Very tough.
Yeah. I mean, they're a good side, Brighton. They're kind of. There's so much to admire about Brighton and Hove Albion. The thing is, they'll be a little bit irritated by not putting Ipswich away last week. So that will give them something to think about, some motivation. But you know what? Nuno will have a plan, I'm sure. It probably won't be the same plan they had at Liverpool. And that is something where we do feel now that Nuno can, sort out a horse for a particular course. And I just think the way we're playing, the way Brighton are playing, it's got the makings of a really good game. I hope it's better than the game on the March the 10th last year where they come off a 4-0 loss to Roma in midweek, and we went there and were truly abysmal. Honestly, the worst. That was if Saturday was the best away day for Forest, the one at Brighton back in March was the worst. So I just think I'm going to go 1-1, and I think an entertaining 1-1. And in a way, we might learn more about Forest this week. As a with the sort of consequences of what happened last Saturday, than we did last Saturday almost. I mean, the truth is, I listened to Rory Jennings, and he said Forest only won because Liverpool were tired from the international break, irrespective of the fact that. How that rodent gets on the TV, I don't know. He's like Roland Rat, honestly. And whoever cuts his hair, dear life. And Rory was there, a man who's never made a 50-50 tackle in his life, not even in his mind, saying that, and I kind of thought, I looked at him and I thought, well, your hair's lovely, but Forrest had 14 guys on it. Chris Wood flew to New Zealand and then Asia. Ramon Sousa was in a Paraguay team that beat Brazil. So, absolute nonsense. I just think we'll learn a bit more about Forest. If we come out the Amex with a point, I'll be chuffed to bits because I've got so much time for Brighton and Hove Albion. So, given what we've done, and I'll probably famous last words, and I'll be back here next week, and it'll be a completely different mindset. I'm going to go 1-1, Dan.
I think that's fair. I think it is fair. And listen,
yeah.
I like Rory, and me and him go back, but don't listen to Rory. Don't listen to him.
I've only got one good ear, so I'll just stick my finger in it, mate. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, mate. It's easy enough to do. Big up to you, man. Dave, Sam, what are you saying? Anfield, yeah? Is it Anfield?
Yeah, Anfield. I think this season had a bit of a theme. Really, apart from our game against Forest, first game of the season, I think every result that we've had is probably just unfair, and that includes our win. Like, for instance, 1-1 against Newcastle, we should have won that one 2-1 thanks to VAR. West Ham and the Carabao Cup, Jarrod Bowen, of course, winning 3-2 at Everton. They dominated us. We were just brilliant for 10 minutes, and then against Chelsea. Saturday night, I thought we dominated them. Just should have been more clinical at times.
Yeah.
I think it'll be the same again at Anfield. I think we'll put in a really good performance, but I just can't see Lightning striking twice in the Premier League. I can't, and that's why I'm really annoyed at last week's result, Dave. So look, I'm going to say we'll put in a good performance, but I probably will come away empty-handed. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, I fear for you, Sam. I can't lie. I do, because not just because our Bournemouth are playing or anything like that, because I thought against Chelsea you're quite unlucky, to be fair, but I look at it Slot will bounce back because you'll have to, and Salah will bounce back, and you'll bet your bottom dollar that he was awful at the weekend, Salah. He won't be awful again.
He was.
You know what I mean?
No.
You look at it and you think he'll be like 2 or 3.
They all were, Dan. They all were, mate.
They had a bad day, man. They had a bad day, but listen, I don't think they will again at Anfield. You're right about the Anfield crowd, though, because when I last went, they sung Never Walk Alone, and I thought, fair play. And then it went, and I thought, have they gone home? What's happening here? Like, they were silent for the rest of it. And I thought, what is this ground is supposed to be the best ground. I didn't get it. But
I'm probably one of the only people who's gone to Anfield and sang 9-0, and you still don't sing 9-0. And you still don't You'll never sing that.
Is there a fire drill? Is there a fire drill?
Yeah, honestly, incredible, man. But no, big up to you, Sam. I hope it's not a drumming, and I hope you come away with something, mate. That's what I hope, obviously, because I was really happy that Forest beat Liverpool, because I look at them as someone who I believe will be close to us this season. Rich, Man United in the early game or late game? Is that right?
Evening kickoff, 5:30.
Evening. Yeah. Come on, man. What are you saying?
If we get the Man United that was at Southampton, we've got a good chance.
Mate, they were so bad for the first half hour of that game.
Yeah, they were really poor. We'll have to wait and see. I think it's going to be more down to us than them, because we know what their threats are, and we negated them last season. So, and can I just say thank you for... He's been brilliant.
Yeah,
he's been brilliant. Eddie. The pace he injects for us going forward, I don't know if Lutz will be, but he's just rapid. So
You've been playing him on the wing, right? You're playing him on the right wing more.
So we've got like 2 inside 10s. That's how we play at the moment. Yeah. Mateta needs a rest. I wouldn't be mad if it was Eze, Nketiah, and Sarr for this game, just because Mateta's he's been played so many minutes of football. But I'm quietly confident. But that's only if we turn up. If we turn up, we beat them. If we don't, we won't. Simple as. I'm So, 2-1 Palace.
Nice. I love that, man.
Go
I
on,
think you
Rich.
can get a point. I think you can get a point against them. I really do. I don't think they're anything scary. They don't look any better than last year. They got a terrible manager in charge. Honestly, I think Manchester United are going to go nowhere with him. That's for sure. So, any team that comes up against them, I actually fancy to get something from because I just think they look terrible, man. I just don't rate them at all. So, let's see where we're at. Anyway, people. Thank you so much for coming on, every single one of you. Please make sure you do me a favor. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Please, people, make sure you go and follow the Arsenal game. I'll be back later with a fan cam after the game. We've got Atalanta at 8 o'clock, so I'll be watching that one. Please make sure you go and follow every single one of these guys, man. Locks, shout out your stuff, man. Let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, obviously new channel, 4 weeks old. So yeah, blue tinted glasses, Leicester City fan channel, lots of stuff. Opposition fans coming on, match reviews, match previews, watch alongs, everything. So yeah, even if you don't support Leicester, if your team plays Leicester in the future, then come and watch because there'll be content for everyone.
Love that, man. Love that. Rich, likewise, man.
Yeah, Eagle-eyed football on YouTube. We just have a
Eagle-eyed football.
Yeah. Actually, I do need to send you a lot Dave's rap. It was quality.
Love that, man. Make sure you go follow Eagle-eyed football, and you definitely need to hear. I need to hear this rap. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So, fair play. Sam, likewise, bro.
Yeah, it's on Back of the Net. Just search Back of the Net on YouTube or type in AFCB podcast. Our last video was filmed yesterday where we managed to convince our right back that we signed from Barcelona, Julian Araujo, to paint the local pub. It's the weirdest video ever. But
Wow.
he joins Tom painting for about 10 minutes, chatting all things football stuff. It's bizarre, but it's
Brilliant.
good. Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's a strange thing to convince him to do. Like,
Yeah.
maybe go for a drink with him in there or something.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, it's been refurbished and we're helping. So yeah, we thought we'd get him along to do some manual labour.
Love that. Man. Make sure you go over to Back of the Net. Must say, unbelievable podcast. What unbelievable production level. Well, what Sam and the guys over there is superb. So please make sure you go do that. What I love about the channel is the vlogs, but I also absolutely love the away days. I'm like, how much was this pie? How much was this beer? I love that. That's all class. And it's always the Emirates, which is the most expensive. Us and Spurs.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it tastes like rubbish as well if you do get it. Like, oh dear, awful. Anyway, big up to all of you for coming on. Big up to everybody for being in the chat. Please make sure you hit a like and subscribe as you leave. And I'll be back after the Arsenal game. I'll see you then. Take it easy, people. Peace.